welcome to Plus One to Gaming. I'm Chris.
And I'm Eric.
I'm Billy.
I'm Mark.
And we are here to get started on our Deep and Creeping Darkness Star Wars 5e adventure. So, Mark, do you want to take us to a galaxy far, far away?
I do. I very much do.
Yes.
Legends grow in the lulls between conflicts across the galaxy. In a remote corner of the universe, a suspicious outling has brought hope to a fledgling mining operation desperate to gain a foothold in the system. His bizarre claims have struck a chord with management, which faces dwindling coffers and a handful of unsustainable dispersed mining operations. Contractors from across the rims have been recalled to base for reassignment. It is the last-ditch effort of a starry-eyed storyteller to make his family's legacy known. You've known all along this job was more emotion than reason, but without widespread warfare across the galaxy, it merely takes credits to buy faith these days. Foremost in your mind, however, is that you finally have an excuse to blast off this miserable rock. You punch in the auto-return navigation toggle on your dilapidated DDG-issued starship cycles takeoff protocols before it lifts towards the stratosphere. Your datapad lights up, and a twinge of pain trickles through you when the Dastoga Deep Ground Galactic Astromech chirps the word. You two have never come to an understanding on the definition. Recall home protocol initiated. You sigh and key in information as the screen flashes. Recall accepted. Identification, prepare facial recognition. Remove goggles, helmets, scanners, jewelry. Red, non-religious, jewelry, non-discriminatory. So, everybody roll me a D6, please. These are the zones you guys are currently in on your way back from assignment. Gupt is closest. Bill, take a second to give us a little kind of introduction of what you're doing, your character on your company-issued starship being recalled home. Little introduction, please.
I would say that I'm actually coming back. Is it okay if I come back on somebody else's starship? Would that mess things up?
No, basically just a little roleplay opportunity for me to get to kind of know the characters and make some decisions.
Yeah, I would say that Goop has been hired to be security for a mining official from the, I don't know when this takes place, in the time of the Empire, the Republic. Do you know?
It's not super important to our story because we're in a small edge of the galaxy. But yes, there's like all of the Sith and Jedi are still doing their political malfeasance in different types of Republic and Imperial ways. But they're not like the full-blown Republic and Empire of like Empire Strikes Back kind of stuff.
Okay, so I would say he is hired by a low-level governmental mining official on one of the border governorships, the municipalities, and he is just sitting and watching the guy that was hired to protect him. He never really takes a day off. So even though they're on the ship, leaving the mining operation, he still is kind of on guard, looking around, just standing about 5 steps behind the small time official. Just another job.
Okay, cool. So he's like there doing guard duty, maybe cycling up the ship and kind of getting it ready as part of his service. That makes sense. Cool.
Yes.
So Arik is the next closest in zone 2. So same for you, Eric. You've been called recall home protocols initiated. Give us a little introduction.
So let me get something straight. I'm coming back from a mission that I was just on.
Yeah. So everyone's been out on assignment, and this is kind of a drop what you're doing and return back situation.
Also, I have not necessarily finished my
Well, no, yeah, like you're done,
It's
but it's
just-
like you need to come back to get your next assignment before you move on.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're mid quest, finish up what you're doing and then report back.
Okay. So Arik is sitting on the ship with her quarry or her mark in the cell in the back after a successful hunt of a kind of low level like debtor to whoever our boss is. I don't know yet. I don't think. It wasn't difficult. No altercations. To just grab him. You're coming with me, kind of thing. He didn't put up a fight. I'm a little discontent in that there was really no action. I feel like I'm destined for greater things, and I kind of want the action. So it's nice that I'll get some credits for this job, but it's not really what I want to be spending my time on. So I sit in the captain's chair and kind of daydream about when I have my own ship and I can take my own jobs.
Yeah, and this is a very bad ship. It works, but
Yeah.
this cheap company didn't provide you with much more than a droid to keep it flying and, something that can get through the atmosphere. Cool. Okay. That leaves Bidu, who is in Zone 6, which is quite far away.
Oh.
That same deal. Recall home, protocol initiated. What are you up to?
I think Bidu might have been far off and taken a little bit of unwanted attention, a little unwanted heat. And maybe he's trying to get as quickly as he can, either, I guess if he's in his one of these assignment issued, he's loading up quickly, kind of doing some side smuggling and egressing as soon as he can. He was on a job, also on a job, but he might have attracted a little bit of unwanted attention, which is unusual because Bidu is usually very careful. So he's trying to make haste.
Okay. You and the crew or droid on your ship, you never came to an understanding on the word home. Each of you are a little different, but the droid, or in Gup's case, the official from the mining company, says, well, maybe that's all the home left after all. The droid doesn't even gloat that you finally caved on this point. But a low murmur flashes and is translated across the data pad. It reads, thoughts far away, mode inquiry, red sympathy. So everyone please roll to determine what it is you're thinking about. Companion wants to know why you seem a little forlorn.
I'm glad to waste that on thinking.
On thematic non-gameplay.
Well done. You thought the
Natural
best.
20. 11 for Bidu. Okay, so Gupt, this question about what you're thinking about, it bothers you. It doesn't necessarily, enrage you, but it's one of those things that when people talk about these sorts of things, your mind wanders. So you feel kind of an intensified feeling of longing, which leads you to share, or in your case, maybe you'll have to internally monologue, a painful memory. And I have a table to help if you want a kind of high level idea of where to start that.
So Goop is thinking now of when his entire security detachment from the Hutt cartel was killed by a force wielder, and he just gets angry thinking about it, sad and angry.
So they were like attacked or defending someone against a force wielder, and it was kind of like a massacre, and he saw it. So he's like traumatized by the violence of it, or is it like he was meant to be their leader and let them down or something?
No, he was. This is back when he was the bodyguard. It was he doesn't know that it was a disagreement between the Hutts and this force wielder, and it led to a massacre of his entire team. Luckily, he was able to extract and get out of there, but he was the only survivor. Not even the person that he was supposed to be bodyguarding survived, and so he is angry with himself for leaving instead of fighting to his death from the Force wielder, and he just, sad. It just that is his driving focus, was getting powerful enough to kill Force wielders.
Was it a Sith or Jedi, or does he know?
He doesn't care. They're all the same to him. It was Sith, but I mean, he knows that, but he doesn't really. They're the same team to him. They are. He doesn't really care about the politics. He doesn't give a shit. He knows that the Hutts were double crossed or had double crossed somebody else. It doesn't really matter, but something was not forthright, and everybody wasn't honest, and that led to a lot of Gamorreans dying.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go down the list. Auric, Nat 20, which we'll never see again. You, on the other hand, this question strikes you in a different way. And you, although you feel like a twinge of sadness about the idea of like home being far away, it makes you think of a triumphant memory that you share. So you shake off any feelings of guilt or sadness, and instead are kind of inspired to think about a positive memory in time in your life.
And so help me visualize the scene. I'm on the ship, and who asked me this question, and what specifically is the question?
Okay, in your case, actually, I do need to change a little bit. So everyone else was, I guess just Bidu is talking to the assigned astromech that came with him. In your case, it would be RX. So
okay, cool.
You pull in, RX, plugs into the ship, and he says, he tells you that there's been a recall home protocol initiated. Mm-hmm. And although when you hear the word home, you feel forlorn, you think of a great adventure that the two of you had. So you're just kind of like, want to talk about that. Whether it's related to your home or not, it's not important.
Okay. Do you even remember home, RX? We ain't been there in a long time. Last place we really called home was boot camp on Jakarta. That was the last place we really had 3 hots and a cot. Man, sometimes I really do miss them. I wish I hadn't banged up my knee so bad they'd have to discharge me. That was the last family we had. That was the last home we had. But do you remember that day we were out in the field and everybody was pinned down by the training droids? We saw the way around, and we led the whole squad into victory that day. And that was what really propelled us into the special forces. I feel like I'll remember that day forever.
Cool. I was really tempted to roleplay your own droid.
So that does bring up a question. I guess I will roleplay him also.
Yeah, I'd say go for it.
Because he's not yours to move. He's mine to move.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with him, really, because...
But it's hard to have a conversation with yourself.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, you can if you want right now for this, at least.
I think he's just probably chirpy. He would definitely remember that proud moment as well.
Yeah, that was a good day. One of the last ones we've had. I know we've been kind of in a rut ever since I hurt my leg, but I feel like things are finally starting to come back our way. Okay,
so Bidu is on his ship, and the droid inquires why his thoughts are far away, and this strikes him as an intense question of that brings up his feelings of longing, and he shares a painful memory from his past with the droid.
Bidu voda, mi ding no chai, zing batu ki no jondai. He's like, hey droid, since when did you get so introspective?
The droid says that they need to quantify your mental state for post-mission breakdown for management, and asks basically what your current thoughts are again.
Dorka Woka, Poodle no die. That's bullshit. I'm fine. But he thinks back and reflects on, I think, the moment when he realized he was betrayed when he was working as a Republic scientist, and like when he was younger and so full of interest and excitement and working on these side projects that he thought could maybe propel him into the field that he wanted to be in. And just that like sinking pit of like despair and anger and fear and uncertainty when he kind of realized that, you know, somebody that he had trusted or thought he could trust, who had a lot of power, just kind of like betrayed him in such a way and tried to frame him for smuggling things that he wasn't, and taking all of his hard research away from him. That's what he thinks about.
The droid updates some files. So as you guys are, on your ship, your minds wander a bit. Those are the things that you've been thinking about. It cycles up, and the coordinates for your next destination come in. These ships are not very well outfitted for you, since you're just kind of low-ranking, contractors. These aren't amazing ships or anything, so they mostly fly on autopilot. And you are on your way back. So that's probably where we can leave it here for today, just with some role playing to get us started. And I have one last thing, which is the kind of inspirational quote that you might see at the beginning of a Star Wars, like Clone Wars episode. And it reads, "Light always finds the darkness waiting."
Ooh.
So that, my friends, is the beginning to a deep and creeping darkness, our 5e respin into the Star Wars universe.
Nice. I got tingles. Awesome. Well, that wraps up our first foray, our first intro session into Adventure 4 and Candlekeep Mysteries, A Deep and Creeping Darkness. What awaits these spacefaring adventurers in the next session? Tune in next week to find out. Don't forget to jump on to +1togaming.com for more live plays, character building resources, and DM tips. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.